Oh, it's good to know.
Yeah.
Because I never really am sure. Hey, guys. We're here. We're live.
Oh, we're live.
What do we got? January 31st live chat. Post-chat show shenanigans.
the Shat Show, live chat.
Lots of chatting going on.
Tonight's live chat sponsored by 4D Tactical, makers of the world's nicest helmet pads and some other cool shit.
Some things in sexy ass tiger stripes. If
Yes.
you like that kind of thing.
Tonight's co-host, my right-hand man. Introduce yourself, sir.
Mike Fiore, owner of Bulletin.net.
Our resident lefty.
Max from Max's Path, also from the Burn Limits podcast.
We actually just finished recording a Berm Limits
We
podcast.
did.
A SHOT Show recap, if you
Yes.
will.
Yes,
With
A
some-
recap, but that was before this recap. So
Right.
is this the recap of the recap? Or
but will come out first because
but
it's live.
yeah, because this is live.
Right. So let's see this first.
All right, let me go over here. I'm gonna click this.
Wife is watching.
That'll give me some bigger captions.
So we have to say hello to my son.
Hello, my son.
Hey, Liam. His name is Liam.
Liam. Hello,
Liam.
sir.
Hello,
Hey,
sir.
buddy.
That's what I wanted.
Tonight's drink of choice: Appleton Estates rum. Now that Gary's off of his no drink 2023 kick,
Yeah, we're done with that.
I ply him with alcohol.
All right, Stephen. Hello, sir. Colt, Matt, Javier, Lars. Hello. Haven't seen you here for a minute or two. Adam Hall. Hello, sir. Uncle Guns. Hello. Crystal. Hello, dear. Turtle. Hello. All right, I got all the hellos done as I caught back up. As you can see, we have a little different setup than normal. Normally, I got my second monitor where I can, like, the captions or chats right in front of my face. Tonight,
Right.
it is not. We are at the Bulletin Studios.
But here we're very, very accommodating, and we've changed the colors
Yes.
for Tremis Dynamics.
Yes. The yellow just looks old and dingy, like it's from the 1920s, so we went with orange. I was expecting by the time that I came and did a second live shot here, because I did one here
During the
EP class.
executive protection class.
So at the time they said, "Oh, well, we're doing a pallet wall similar to yours." So I was like, "Oh, well, next time I do one here, there'll be a pallet wall."
Well, it's been a bit of a delay on getting pallets. Also, the moving blankets seem to work with the reflective light. They kind of have like a studio feel to them. It will go with that.
That's the reason why.
It's better than fucking drywall.
No, it's not. The drywall was majestic.
Oh, it's way better than drywall.
Yes.
The drywall was majestic.
If it were finished drywall.
No, it looked fantastic. Way better than I thought it was going
So,
How many people do we have?
13.
Crystal, Mike, who has never plied a single person with alcohol. Yes, of course. I'm very innocent, and I don't ever try to encourage my friends to imbibe with me ever.
No.
That's not a thing.
I will say I held fast for my
like
year.
5 seconds.
For the year.
Oh,
the year of no
gotcha,
drinking.
gotcha.
No matter how much peer pressure there was.
What went first, the no shooting or the no drinking for the year?
Well, the no shooting was I still would shoot live fire for work.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was demos at class or I
Right.
had to film a video, which I didn't really film videos, so that helped there. So that never really stopped. It just cut down to only if it was needed, in the course of earning money. So I would say the shooting, but like shooting for fun, that would have ended January 1st. It is now January 31st. I have still yet to go. I zeroed a rifle.
I've got
So 12 rounds that weren't work related, although they were kind of work related because zeroing a rifle that I'll use in class next month.
We spent a whole day at the range this month and didn't shoot a shot.
We did?
Yeah, when we did your handout photo shoot.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we did the photo shoot for the handout and did not shoot a single round.
Not a thing.
We also spent a whole day or half a day at a range. It had like 35 different pits with free guns and free ammo and shot not a round.
Well, speak for yourself.
I shot 10 rounds.
Oh yeah, the 6.8.
The 6
Oh,
millimeter
no,
max.
6mm max.
I shot 5 of the
How did
lightweight.
you think of that?
I'm a believer.
Yeah.
I'm
Did
a
you
believer.
put that one in your top 5?
In the honorable mentions?
Yeah, honorable mentions.
Anything that he gets behind, I generally listen to.
I looked at the numbers for the 6 millimeter max and went, something doesn't add up here. Like these numbers, you can't have a 10.5-inch barrel. We're shooting a 105 grain bullet at 3,000 feet per second, unless that thing kicks like a mule. So I was like, if all those numbers are real, this gun's going to shoot like fuck. And I shot it and went, oh, it feels just like a 5.56.
Oh no, I
Mhm.
need another caliber that costs.
I was like, what do I got to change? And they're like, the barrel and the magazine.
Mm.
Oh, well, that's,
So what kind of magazine is that?
they had some metal mags there that were straight.
So it's proprietary though. For the round?
I think they were just 20 round straight GI mags.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a curved coming or if there's
Might just be a different follower.
it could be. Like, I don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
If it's as awesome as it, like if it takes hold like it should, given how remarkable it is, maybe there'll be a PMag specific for it if it requires.
Hey Pete.
Maybe.
Hey Pete.
Oh, Pete already went and talked to him.
Oh yeah.
So Pete showed up at SHOT Show on Tuesday, and we ran into him before lunch on Tuesday. And I said, "Hey, are you doing a 6 millimeter max?" He goes, "I don't know. Maybe I should go talk to them." He goes, "It seems too good to be true on paper." I said, "Dude, I felt the same way till yesterday, and I shot it, and I'm a believer." And he did go down and talk to them about getting on board. So I don't know where that went from there.
Right.
Like they might have said fucking pound sand, or I don't know. I never caught up with Pete to find out.
They don't seem to type to hold that close to their vest.
Especially since Mike literally mentioned TCX by brand name at the armorers class.
There you go.
He didn't say Defiant. He said TCX.
Right.
We're talking about in the armorers class, barrel lengths and velocities and blah, 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 blah. And he goes, unless you just run TCX and everything, and then you can run a short barrel and it doesn't have any issue with expansion. Yeah. And I went, did he just say TCX? Because that's kind of a small player not in the performance, a small player in the popularity.
Is Pete the only one that makes TCX?
Yeah, that's his like trademarked.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, the other companies make a solid copper bullets, but they all call them something different.
Okay, gotcha. Somebody else loads TCX that's pretty big.
Because like Corbon's is DPX.
Who the fuck? There's somebody that.
And Barnes does the X bullet.
Yeah, I think Barnes has a TCX load too.
Well, they don't call it TCX because that's a trademark.
But there is a bigger ammo manufacturer that loads TCX.
Who knows?
But I can't think of who the fuck it is.
But it seems like Pete's becoming the Kleenex of TCX. Where like, hey, if his name is TCX, people refer to anything like his as.
Yeah, it's like nobody when Corbon was the hotness, nobody called it Corbon. They just said, "Oh yeah, I'm running DPX."
Mm-hmm. Oh, Shinde's here. Hello, sir.
Oh, hello, sir.
Oh, I wonder if he was here for the pallet wall discussion, sir. We could use some pallet wood if you might have some laying around.
I need to get the sanding and cutting and staining.
Yeah, I ain't helping with that.
Sun's crew doesn't do lame shit. No, they do not.
Nothing.
They're pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, how'd we get talking 6 millimeter max again?
Oh, because
shooting live fire.
Yeah, live fire stuff.
Yep. And the booze thing, like that could have ended on January 12th. I actually made it all the way to January 13th, like an extra day, just because.
Just to stick it to the man.
Yeah, I'll show that motherfucker.
The man is himself.
I made the man think I might be going for 2 years.
I did some other shooting at range day as well. Only one thing though, the Hollow Sudden. I shot the what is it? I keep the thermal pistol sight or whatever they call it.
Rule 8 violation.
Yeah, that thing is. It doesn't work well, or at least the pre-production prototype models were a little janky. So,
I mean, I believe they're going to get it ironed out because it seems like they get everything ironed out. I mean, they had a lot of momentum behind them, so I'm sure it's going to do something. But I
think we've seen the last of it.
I don't understand. I don't understand. It's too far away from your eye I think, to be any kind of benefit.
Well, let me ask you a question, and we haven't chatted about this yet. What when do you need thermal on a pistol?
Never.
Right.
I mean,
That's why I think it's going to be dead.
They
on
said
arrival.
LE use. Like that's what he was.
What
in
does-
listening to videos, he was like, I don't know.
Okay,
man.
so even if they were saying it's for LEUs, if a cop uses thermal to shoot a suspect, say they even there was somebody barricaded and they're like, hey, we're gonna shoot through these bushes because we can see a thermal signature. How are they even justified to do that? Because they need
not.
PID to shoot somebody.
Yep, I need to articulate the positive part of the PID.
Yeah, if it's PID for hunting, that's a coyote. I don't need to know which coyote it is, but
Because they're all fair game.
because they're all fair game.
You don't shoot the unarmed coyotes.
They got
Just the ones,
forearms.
just the ones hanging out on cliffs with a pair of scissors that are going to drop the
Right,
anvil.
exactly.
Yeah. But I don't it's such a short range gun, pistols and pistol caliber carbines that I don't get why they would need thermal sights.
I just wonder if it's a thing of, hey, can we do this?
Yep.
Yeah.
And hey, if we do this, we're going to get a lot of eyes, as if they need more fucking eyes on them at this point. So I'm way more interested in their rifle light than anything else.
I would have been had they had any with a battery in it
Worked.
when I was there. I mean, I'm going to go off on the tangent. Why not?
Yeah, it's your
It's
show.
my show. I
You're allowed
can
to
do whatever
do
the fuck I want. So they're a manufacturer that makes 100% of their products require batteries for use. And in the booth for the rifle light, there were no batteries available to power up said rifle light.
I don't see a problem.
Yeah,
Where's your what's your issue? I don't understand.
Adam says that airsofters are going to love it. I agree.
Yep, agreed.
It's probably not going to work on their guns either, but it'll look like they're flexing.
Yeah.
So, just like flexing riffs.
Oh, who's in
also
here?
here?
Who says there's gonna be a lot? If you're gonna stain that wood in this basement, there'll be a lot of fumes.
Hey.
there will be.
Don't be beating up on my good time.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing was kind of made as like look what we can do. So we're gonna bring it out,
Maybe
show
what
it a
we
shot,
should do.
and we'll never see it again because we just wanted to have something that
You
people would talk about.
You mean like the arrow lever gun, like that?
Which I did not hear about until tonight. So
Like annoying, fucking annoying.
because while I did stop at the arrow booth, the big arrow booth on the side had a small table facing the other direction
Mhm.
that you couldn't go into the arrow booth from the side booth. It was a ballistic advantage booth.
Right.
So I stopped over there to see what new was coming out, and I did not see Clint Hansen over there, so I didn't really talk long.
That was the thing I wanted to ask you about. Did you guys stop at the Foxtrot mic booth at all? Did you see the all-in-one CNC machine barrel? As it all-in-one?
I did not see it in person.
Oh, I saw Curtis's video.
It looks pretty freaking badass, except for the proprietary gas tube and the fact that they won't make it in anything but their own upper. But besides that, it looks pretty freaking badass.
The only issue is I don't know what problem it solves, because of all the issues I would say that I would have seen crop up on AR, that doesn't fix them. I've never seen oh, you know what the problem is? These muzzle brakes coming loose.
Mm-hmm.
Or
the muzzle device thing was
or the
The gas block fell off, so
Yeah.
we should make it monolithic.
Because even if the gas block is super inefficient and it's got a lot of gas leaking around it, then it carbons up and it's actually harder to get off than a regular gas block.
Right.
So I was like, oh, that fixes itself. It's awesome that the machining part of it, I was impressed. Holy crap, they could do that. The practicality of it, I went, it's not useful.
And it still needs to connect to a gas tube.
And their gas tube is proprietary because it comes in on an angle.
Right.
Now they said something about that it's more efficient in some way, shape, or form because of the way it's done. I don't know. It was interesting to me.
I mean, it's a flex.
For sure.
It's straight up hey, we did this awesome thing.
And I like that dude.
Um,
I'm not a big fan of the idea though of not having the ability to change a muzzle device, having it built into the barrel.
That part I don't really
it's
get.
okay as long as it's a really good flash hider.
Well, what he was saying, was that it eliminates some of the issues with concentricity with suppressors because I guess there's one less tolerance or whatever. But or you could just direct thread, which is what I'll be doing with mine.
Oh, I'm a big fan of that. Javier wants to know if we saw the Smith & Wesson lever action.
I did not. I didn't even know that they had one.
There was one in the Smith & Wesson booth. They did not make a big deal about it. So, like, there was MMPs here. Like, here's the metal MMP, and here's the Shield Plus. There's the lever action. And it was not like a big centerpiece for them. And I was like, they make a lever action? And then I couldn't remember if they fucking made one before or not.
Does it look like a classic lever
Yes.
action? Okay.
Yes.
So it's not like an MMP lever action.
No.
I might actually be like, I would be way more interested in seeing that.
Have you seen some of those janky tacticalized lever actions? I
I
forget what company made one, but it looked like it was going to be the most uncomfortable gun to shoot.
Some companies, Midwest revolutionized that. Like
they've been doing the
they
rails.
made the rail, and that sparked the whole thing. And then some companies I have seen go, oh, well, we could buy Midwest rails, or we can make our own. And a lot of them that when they make their own, that's something they want to make it look different. And then,
Midwest was they had a bunch of lever gun stuff this year.
Yeah.
Like for every lever gun you could possibly imagine, they had a sweet ass fucking stock with it, with like some side saddle inserts and stuff. Cool stuff.
the stock I thought was cool, but I was really impressed with the actual side saddle that mounts on the side of the receiver, like we do with shotgun cards.
Yes, yeah.
And I went, oh, fuck, did nobody think about that until now?
Did you see the one they have that integrates into the rail on top?
Yeah, that's how it.
Yeah. And it basically like waterfalls over the side.
Yep.
He didn't even show that one. I did a video with them. They never showed that one to me.
That's patented.
Yeah.
I found out about it on their Instagram on day 2 of SHOT. And I was like, that was in the booth yesterday. So I said to him, I was like, how come you didn't tell me? And they're like, it's on the gun. And I looked at the wall and said, hey, did you notice all the guns are pointing that way? So the ones you have with the side saddle thing, the side saddle's against the wall and not facing the viewers. So then they turned it around.
Dynamic lever rifle.
Strangely enough,
Now that you say it,
you are not the first person to suggest that. I actually was asked by the dudes at Midwest when's that happening?
can you even do that this side of the Mississippi?
I will
On the other side.
I will be as bold to say that if somebody was willing to provide lever guns to the staff of Tremis Dynamics, that maybe that might happen. But as far as I'm aware, none of the people that teach Tremis Dynamics classes have lever guns.
If you're going to do that class, you should do it in Casa's backyard because he has the most amazing backyard, perhaps, that I've ever seen.
It would be a good, since we already have a host in Montana, and Montana is like cowboy country. That would be a good place.
Make a module in dynamic carbine.
Here. Well, since we're here, we're going to do the lever gun version. It's an add-on.
Did you bring your lever guns? Did anyone bring it?
Hey, if somebody gives me a lever gun, I will run a lever gun dynamic carbine in Montana. But
I'll do every demo with a lever gun. I just don't want to buy one.
If you had to, well, I know this answer, but what's your lever gun of choice? And I know you've had a hard time finding it.
Marlin 444 dark.
All black,
threaded barrel. It has the XS pick rail thing on top and the XS stripe front sight, ghost ring in the back. But the barrel's already threaded. It's Parkerized black. I would still deck it out with a Midwest rail. I wouldn't get the rail that goes all the way over, of course, because
you don't need it.
It's got the XS one. But I might swap that XS rail out for the Midwest one with the side saddle, so I could have the side saddle and do the Midwest stock on it. And then I'd put a Z-bolt on it, a can. I don't know what can, big bore rifle of some. I'd have to figure out what one was the way to go. And then a goober sling. Call it good.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be a hell of a build.
It would be pretty fucking spectacular.
So if someone wants to sponsor that build, send your email to.
And a 1-to-8. I put a 1-to-8 on the top.
Oh yeah,
I got a 1-to-8 waiting right now.
The PLX.
Oh no, I would use my SLX on the lever gun because I'm going to put a PLX
on your AR.
Yep.
Man, so the primary arms PLX. I sometimes I just don't pay attention to some things, and Gary's been talking about it forever, and he's like, that thing is sweet. So we found it at the SHOT Show primary arms booth, and man, I was impressed. Like you had mentioned just how thin the rim is around it, where it almost disappears. I'm like, that sounds like bullshit. And then I looked through it. I'm like, damn,
Is that like the $1,400 price one?
I think it's like 12.
Okay.
The first focal plane is 12. They just released the second focal plane at this SHOT Show. It should be a little less, probably another 100.
There was one they were calling the peanut butter house.
Yeah, the peanut butter pickle.
Yeah,
that was that PLX compact in brown.
Yeah.
And that was last year's, and that was the first focal plane. This year they released the second focal plane version, which on an LPVO I prefer a second focal plane, and they're usually 100, 150 less,
right,
just because it costs less to make them.
There was one that I forget who the hell was blowing it out, but it wasn't primary. It was a Sig Tango 1-6. They were selling with the mount for like $270 something.
Oh wow,
with mount.
I'd try that out.
I was like, I told Andrew, I sent it to Andrew. I said, dude, like you should buy like 3 of these because he just got an LPVO.
Well, he could. What Andrew should do is get a 1-6, a pair of 1-6s, mount them to a bridge on a helmet, so he can stop wearing those
readers.
Cheaters.
Yeah, I was just going to say he needs to find a way to mount it to the top of a Glock 19.
Yeah.
He can flip those puppies down. I hope he's reading this or watching this. I'm reading it.
Dude, he got someone traded him a Voodoo, a Neotech Voodoo, I think, or was it a? I think it's Neotech. Is the Voodoo?
It's Neotech.
Anyway, someone traded him one, so he just built out another upper with another optic on it.
That works. So Adam wants to know why a second focal plane on an LPVO. So the reasoning that I would do that is if I need any sort of reticle that isn't just put the dot on the target and press the trigger.
BDC.
Yeah, any sort of, whether it be mil scale or an actual BDC for the caliber I'm shooting, I'm going to crank it up to 8. I don't need it, and I know that that's the only magnification in a second focal plane that all those work,
right,
which is fine because when the low power is 1, I'm never going to shoot at 800 yards on 1 power. I won't fucking see the target.
It's going to be a red dot.
And I only use the lowest power and the highest power on an LPVO. So if all that shit is calibrated at the highest power, great. 8, 10, 6, 4, whatever the fucking max is.
Yep.
The max.
I'm on every optic. And most, most sound equipment.
So I don't need to pay extra money and the extra weight of a first focal plane to have the reticle be calibrated at all distances.
Right. It's first time I ever saw an Elcan. I was like super fascinated with it because I'm like, oh, cool. It's like an LPVO, but it just does everything I wanted to in terms of it's either close or far. Until I used one and then held it, and it was like the most giant thing. And like if somebody can make like the PLX or S, whatever it is, that high end glass with the ability to just flick a thing and all of a sudden it goes only between the two far ends of the extreme, I would love it. Yep. Like that would be the best. But the fact that like you have to like crank that thing in and like sometimes it's halfway. Maybe you might need it sometimes, but man, I'd love the ability to just flick something and all of a sudden have power.
I would prefer that. It's just not worth the trade off of it being in an Elcan.
We can always get that thing that I forget who.
The scope switch?
Yeah. And I forget who it was that did a video on it, but they're like, until you get like a little bit of dirt in there, watch.
They have a new one.
Oh.
I don't know if it's them that's making it, but someone at SHOT Show was talking about it, and it's Bluetooth or digital or something. So
nope.
So the switch is up here and the ring is back here. When there's no mechanical.
Gotcha.
It's battery powered.
Nice.
It might even be wired. I don't know.
Either way. If I have to put battery, like a second battery in my optic to run the gears in it,
Well, you need a battery for the backup for the battery for the battery to run
Just
the
not-
motor for the battery.
Although, you know what is nice? That little flippy do on the primary arms optics.
Oh, the lever.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like I have
That's our
a
lever.
static one, but that little
Yeah.
the little flip out one, it's nice and it
Yeah.
folds in, so you less
so
of a
it's
chance
not-
of it getting snagged on shit
Yep.
now.
Oh, John's here.
John Ammons?
Yep.
Oh, I like him. Don't tell him though.
Yo,
Shh, that'd be weird.
well, he's under his other
His
persona.
alias.
Yep.
I like his videos.
Yeah, he does some pretty good ones. He's all right.
Yeah,
But shh, don't tell him I said so.
yeah, I know.
He may have just heard it.
Maybe he probably already punched out.
Maybe.
Oh, it's because he's got that good camouflage on.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. forces
Yes.
or AR2. Yeah, this is what he says to me. Hey, man, I found some AR2 fabric in stock. I was going to get it, but it's $400 a yard. Yeah, I know. I've been dealing with that too on my end for a product with somebody else that you don't make. It ain't even your competition.
So apparently, John's been telling the same stuff we've been talking about now to PA. Because
Well, he's got it in
He's
with
got that in.
Yeah.
I tried talking to somebody in the booth to be like, "Hey, so you guys do like review, like yeah, like I've got a small YouTube channel." They're like, "Yeah, come back when you're bigger, kid." Like,
Did you know that we sponsor Garand Thumb?
yeah, I'm like, well, you can't blame a guy for trying.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah,
a
I think we know that guy. The last guy that commented.
JKH26.
Yep.
It's an interesting name.
Do we?
Yeah, pretty sure. But I could be wrong, so I don't want to say it out loud. And if he's, hey, it's not even who I thought it was.
Oh.
Sorry, Jason. Jason, did you get your package yet? Did it show up in the mail? You can answer when you want. It doesn't matter. I can check tracking, but Jason got a custom shop Princess pack.
Oh, first wave?
Yep.
Nice. I did some holster smithing today.
Oh, did you?
Were
Yeah,
you lighting them on fire?
It involved a heat gun and an old holster. Because I don't know the guys at First Wave as well as you do.
Yeah.
So I had an old holster which kind of fit a 365. And I went to the gym today, but I had given my wife my trigger guard holster. So I was like, shit, I need a different holster. And I didn't want to use my big one with the claw, which I use for EDC. So I found some old holster. Don't even know what gun it's for. And put the 365. I'm like, oh, it's a little loose. It doesn't click in. So I went downstairs, heat gun, right on just pinched it in on the trigger guard a bit. Works like a charm. I could do holsters too.
Perfect. So let's see, what else from Shot was there to talk about?
Hobos.
There were hobos. I put some pictures of the hobos.
Several hobos. There was Hobo Hotel.
Yep.
And what was the other one? Hobo Charlie.
I can't remember. Yeah,
You could have went into the hobo encampment with just simunition guns and
could have. Calvin would have.
I mean, they seemed like. I didn't have anything against the people.
No, they just looked sketchy. Like there was nothing sketchy happened. They just
meth for sale.
The yelling at night was not, preferred.
well, once I got accustomed to it, I didn't get concerned till it got quiet.
Yeah.
I'm like, now what are they plotting?
Are they climbing the gates? And I personally think that the fires added a nice ambiance to the neighborhood at night.
Kind of rustic.
And you didn't really need them for light because it's Las Vegas. The whole fucking place is lit up like this studio in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we saw we could see the sphere from our Airbnb.
How was that?
It's super cool.
It looks friggin' the first time I saw it, I was like, no.
It's as awesome as you think
it's
it
not
might be.
real.
Yeah.
That can't be real.
This is gonna shock Mike to his core. I hated it. He's like,
Yeah,
I know you hate everything.
You hate
everyone
everything
likes.
that brings joy to other people.
It was so fucking bright
Puppies?
and bold.
How do you stand on puppies?
I love puppies.
Yeah.
But like at night, it was too bright. Like they needed to dim that shit. And
that's when it looks the
point.
best.
That's the point of it, is to be bright and annoying, especially at night.
Our
Well,
whole like. there
I
was
don't like
somebody-
Las Vegas for the same reason.
Yeah.
Like in general, it's too bright.
Man, like we
And
had
busy.
small windows in our Airbnb, and that place was lit up all night long.
Yeah, it was
like
like
I
having
couldn't
night
tell
light.
what time of day it was.
Even with the blinds shut all the way,
Yeah.
like it was enough light to. Any update on commie calibers from PSA? So when I stopped and talked to people at PSA, I got, hey, you're gonna have to go to our other booth to talk ammo, and because they had 2 or 3 booths in there, and I did talk to them about the micro dagger, and they're actually going to start shipping them maybe someday soon.
They had one for sale that Andrew threw me.
Oh, it was out of stock.
The
by
micro
the-
dagger with
yeah.
the Hollison.
It was it was available when he sent it to me.
Yeah,
I could have clicked.
I clicked that link and it was like it came back in stock the same day at like $600. I'm like, I don't know what the deal is on this.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's a $200 pistol then.
Yeah.
It's $400 optics. So
I mean,
Right.
I forget what.
so a Glock 48, which is what it's comparable to,
Yeah.
at the same,
It'd be
the same,
800 or
it'd be 800.
Yeah, but I was like, well, dude, like you should buy them for rental. I killed my Glock 48.
Okay.
Killed.
Damn.
Like fucking killed.
How?
Well, I was loading ammo. I was trying out the PSA mags,
Oh,
and something happened. So I wound up. Andrew called randomly. He said, "Oh, I know a guy. He's a Glock armor. Let me get him on here." So we get him on, and got everything out except for the plunger for the extractor, and I could not get that free with a hammer and a punch. I actually bent the tip of the punch trying to get it out of the gun.
Wow.
So whatever fucked in there, it really fucked. Like it's fucked. I need to send it to Glock.
well, PSA had some interesting. Oh, we didn't get a chance to talk about this on the podcast we just did, but like PSA seems to be like the king of vaporware this year. Like they have six some odd guns that they put out.
Didn't they have like an
looked sexy as
like
fuck.
an MP7?
Yes.
Yep.
And the Sturmgewehr of
Yep. And a like a Mossberg 590 clone
Yeah.
type of thing. Jackal. Are you familiar with the Jackal line?
I know there is one.
I'm just just getting familiar with it, but like I guess that's their answer to the MCX type of gun, where it's like
well, Grantham just did a video on it too, and he said good things. So like,
so they also were showing a 308 Jackal. I'm like, all right, I could get on that.
I mean, they had the customer base to build all of it and sell all of it that they made.
Sure,
So-
and I'm bet you they'll make all of them eventually. But like, they had 6 guns, and they're like, "Which one do you want us to make?" And they're like taking votes on stuff. I'm like, that's.
And I'm over here going, well, you could make the micro dagger.
here.
I mean, I know that it exists, and some people have had them in their hands.
hmm
They're not completely vapor,
Yeah.
but I'll buy one.
I could have bought one.
But
But-
and they make one kind of like the macro top end with the 43X barrel with the 48 side with the built-in comp.
Oh, the competent, yeah.
And I was like, oh, another worthless comp, like the one on my hip right now.
Yeah, they're.
But I already
Totally
paid for it, so
yeah.
But that shotgun looked sexy as fuck.
I mean, it looks all right. It looks like a Mossberg.
oh, they're calling it the 570
Yes.
Oh yeah.
after my area code.
And it accepts all the Magpul furniture.
Right.
That's what's sexy.
I think
about
it
it.
comes
The
with
Remington Magpul furniture.
What's that?
It uses the Remington.
Right.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Not the Moss.
Not the.
But I
Moss-
think it's well, who knows if they're going to make it or not, or when they're going to make it. But apparently, it sounded like it was going to come with it.
Yeah.
Like apparently, they were saying something to the effect that if they produce it, it'll be configurable to how you want it done, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And
Yeah. There's only one shotgun that I want.
Same.
Beretta 1301.
Yep.
I'll take the A300.
I mean, I wouldn't shot if
Did
someone
you-
handed it to me. I
Did you
wouldn't shy
see
away
how
from it.
much the Mod 2 is?
You can't put a fucking good stock on the
Fuck that. You know how much the Mod 2 cost? The Mod 2 costs like $1,800 for the 1301.
Well, maybe somebody out there will be stupid enough to sell the
$1,800.
1301 version 1 at a cheap price.
That's
and then
without the pistol
I'll
grip.
pick one of those up and then put a Magpul furniture on it.
I would buy the Aether gun.
I won't shoot a shotgun without a Magpul stock, so that's a no-go for me.
I understand.
Or I would. I can't say I won't. If somebody else puts the grip part in the right place at the right angle, I will, but everybody doesn't. So
Yeah.
Jason Hedrick wants to know, he's back on his right profile now. When's Manus coming out with a trigger reset mag and laser combo for pistols?
Well,
I am at not liberty to discuss the subject.
the only thing I am aware of is that it's not likely this year, if there was one.
Which you're not saying there is.
He can say more than I can.
Yeah. Well, I'm only going on asking a direct question of, can we expect something this year? And they said no. Oh, okay. Well, at least I'm not like waiting with bated breath this year for a pistol Blackbeard.
Yeah, I can't.
That's all I know. But however,
there's some other options out there.
Yes.
Laser ammo along with
dry fire mag.
Dry fire mag. That's a combo. They're working together.
Yeah, it's a collaboration.
I already set up to get a dealer account started with them. They've got a couple of guns out now, 320 Glocks. Macro will be out within the next 90 days. They got 48 magazine one. If it's not out, it'll be out within like the next 30 days. Like something was 30 days. So they got different ones coming out, and that resets the trigger in the magazine and uses a laser cartridge. So it's different than like how a Blackbeard, how I would imagine a Blackbeard would work in a pistol. But it will be something that
it doesn't cycle the slide.
Yeah, it resets the trigger,
and it doesn't. It's not the full trigger press.
No,
it's like they try to approximate the trigger press as best they can, and it's pretty good.
It's also adjustable.
Yeah,
the trigger press, you can adjust. There's 3 different springs for in the magazine, and the springs can be tuned. There's an adjustment on them to make the springs more or less. And yes, Steven, I saw the Cool Fire one, but I'm not running CO2 like this. No, like the laser ammo dry fire mag collab is the way to go for it. I also checked out the one from Blue Ops, which they only have a Glock 19 at this moment. And I did not like the trigger reset, the way it felt. It wasn't as close to a real trigger reset as the laser ammo one. But I had a great conversation with those guys about how I would use it and how they recommend it being used.
Laser ammo also has
it's made here. Like the Blue Ops is made in Europe.
And they have a whole suite of, like, they have that smokeless range too, which is pretty cool.
They got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
What else was I just about to say before he asked that question? Talking about shotguns.
Lever guns?
Lever guns.
We talked about
lever guns. Fucking lever guns.
That's all everyone's ever talking about is lever guns.
Lever guns. So I mentioned this on the podcast, which isn't out yet because Mike hasn't edited it. He's slacking.
Yeah,
he had an hour.
An entire hour.
We chose to eat dinner.
He decided to eat instead of do the editing.
I'm a glutton. What can I say?
Jason, Dry Fire Mag is making one with a laser now, so just saying. Anyhow, lever gun. Everyone on the internet said it's all about lever guns, and while on the floor, I barely heard anyone mention lever guns. But man, thermal imaging processors must have gotten cheap because everything had thermal. There was the thermal pistol optic that everyone made a big deal about. Gayer than come on a beard. But there were like wristwatches with pop-up thermal imagers and shot timers with thermal imagers. Like everything seemed to have a fucking thermal imager on it.
Yeah, there were so many like you'd walk by a booth and see like you're at a convenience store. Like you walk by and you're like, hey, that's me. And then but all of them were thermal images, like big thermal displays showing a camera of you walking by under thermal. And it's like,
and most of them were not the most flattering angles.
Although I can vouch for the fact that if you look at Gary under thermals with the right color scheme, you can actually see the fire of hatred burning within his heart.
That's awesome. I didn't notice. Let's see what else. So it was a lot of thermal shit. Trying to think of like the stuff that didn't make my top 5 video. I mentioned in the podcast about the Montana booth was awesome again.
They're great people. It's a great place.
We're teaching there this year.
We are.
Yeah.
July.
Are you coming back, or are you just going to stay until the wife say we're here now? So,
well, I'm leaving my dad out here, so like I should probably come back and at least try and get him at some point.
You can send
Jamie can bring him.
Yeah,
you can send a car for him.
Oh,
We're going to send a service to pick you up, Dad. Pack.
Yeah, Gary and I both negotiated, or I should say, planned trips out to Montana separately from one another to go hang out with a shared contact, and it just so happens that they wind up being around the same
They're
time.
like back to back to each other.
Yeah, so
Maybe
we're
some
just
couple
probably
days
going to do the
overlap.
whole thing
Yeah.
together.
How many turn your Glock into a half-arsed? You can say half-assed right here on my channel. I don't. There was how
to turn your 365.
365. I saw a 365 into a carbine.
Yeah.
Yuck.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
Although-
if I'm going to buy a pistol caliber carbine, I'll tell you what.
Sub 2000.
No. That PSA thing we were just talking about, that 5.7 or the MP7
MP7.
at home, call it, or whatever. While I'm not a huge fan of the 5.7 cartridge,
Or the cost of it.
or the cost, it holds 40 rounds and it's super small. The only reason I would ever want a pistol caliber carbine is for it to be small. If I wanted a large pistol caliber carbine, it would be a rifle.
So
I have heard the CMMG 5.7 apparently is supposed to be for what it is, a really good gun. And if you have a woman that doesn't, anyone that doesn't really like recoil, that's supposed to be a good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place for them. I'm just like, for me, I don't ever see you can't get an AR as small as because the 5.7 thing is like an Uzi size almost.
Yeah.
You can't get an AR that size. So I can see the benefit of having something that's a little bit bigger than a pistol but smaller than a rifle, because it fills some sort of gap that doesn't currently exist. But if it gets any bigger than that, like other pistol caliber carbines, why doesn't it just have rifle rounds in it?
Why not just get a Draco? I mean, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you really want to solve the problem.
Or a Crink. Somebody was making a Crink.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
PSA, another
PSA.
thing that they were coming out.
In
with
545.
Yeah, and 5.56.
Yeah.
Scott Wexler, hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Although someone was pointing out the one time, I said, let's see you break into someone's home. Even if they're using a BB gun, it's going to fuck your day up.
I suppose. Okay, what else happened out there? Not top 5, not bottom 5, not honorable mentions, other shit.
We had
Any cool knives?
saw some auto openers, like the
I did not notice any nice
none
stuff.
that I can't even remember the names for really.
I was looking for a good axe.
Mm,
Didn't see any axes.
Winkler makes a good axe.
Don't their axes have shit on the back?
Not all of them. Some of them have pommels. Some of them do or don't.
Like
They-
pokey things?
It depends.
I don't like the pokey things on the back.
There's actually a guy, Jason Barr. He's part of the crew for Wrangler Star, and he trained down with Prepare Patriot down in North Carolina, and he just started a knife company. He posted. I shared it on Facebook because he's a good dude. I mean, I took rough
Oh yeah, I looked at that link today.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know who he's talking about that started this.
So
And I went over and looked,
Yeah.
and so you know the guy. I would
Mhm.
like to be able to look for knives by something other than just brand.
I think those are the only brands that he has
Right,
now.
but like I was because I
Oh,
saw,
gotcha.
I want to look for axes. I want to look because there was some.
Mhm.
There's a couple folders spread out in
Yeah,
there.
it was weird.
And I would like to be able to look for the folders
yeah.
separate.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
so
yeah.
if you can pass that on, that
Yeah.
when I wanted to look at stuff,
Sure.
it didn't have the option.
And
I
his
would've searched
photographs for those
Are the great
It's
photos.
what he does. Like that's what his thing is.
Yeah.
He's a photographer. But anyway, yeah. So he just started a new website, and they have a lot of Winkler stuff, and they have Primitive Woodsman, which apparently is a North Carolina company, and I think Evan knows them. So yeah, they have their brand, a couple other different ones.
Oh, you know what else was good there?
Pizza,
The pizza. Well, that was from-
Giorgiano's
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I left them a 5-star review on Google.
okay.
They replied to it. Thanks for taking the time to review our
Nice.
and I was like, oh, I didn't even type anything.
It was. I mean, I've had deep dish pizza half a dozen times in my life. That was the best. Like, and we knew it was going to be good too because we saw a couple other ones where we sat down and we walked in. And we were kind of on a time hack that night, trying to make another event. And they come back to the table. They're like, "It's going to take an hour to cook." And I had totally forgotten that about deep dish pizza. And we're like, "Screw it, we'll be late because that shit looks good." That was a night we were going to meet up with the tactical response crew at the Circle Bar.
Yeah.
By the way, Circle Bar is the place to, I guess, do any networking at.
It was good.
There is a lot of action that happens at the Circle Bar.
Right, I've heard.
The when Mike got there before us, because he had made commitments, so and Shinde was getting stuff for breakfast the following morning. He was getting a gyro or something. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, we'll catch up to you. So we got over there, and I saw in a little group of people my friend Don Edwards, and I was like, oh, I got to stop and say hi to Don. And he was talking to Rob Pincus, and I was like, oh, and I got to go talk to Rob Pincus. But by the time I saw Mike and he bought me a drink, and I had to wait for the drink to be served, Rob had left, so I didn't get to have any cool conversations with Rob. Although I did have a great conversation that evening with Don, because every conversation with Don is great.
I like him a lot.
But yes, Javier, there are spots available. Talking to Don, and then like Sam showed up, and I caught up with Lewis. At some point, you got over there, and then
it was a bunch of tactical response alumni, all in the
a
same
bunch of
spot.
dudes that I knew that I hadn't talked to in forever, and then Joey showed up, and I hadn't talked to Joey since like 2016, maybe 2017, maybe like alumni 2017. So it was great to catch up with him because I hadn't seen him in far too long. And it was good to reconnect there. I know there are people watching us go, wait, you spoke to Joey? Yes, I spoke to Joey. And we had dinner together the next night. It was good.
Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people out there that hold on to stuff. And, man, all I can say is that last week was some of the best times I've ever had hanging out with very like-minded and awesome people.
Yep. We'll hang out with Turtle, who's floating around here somewhere in the chat.
Yep.
He had the meat sweats. Who else did we hang? You sprinted off to do media stuff, but had dinner with Buell and Rick Takahashi.
I was a little jealous because I haven't gotten to hang out with Rick and Buell much.
Yeah,
I got to chat with Buell while I was there, but like I haven't really spent much time with Rick.
Rick took us to the Prime Burger, and I was like, "Fuck, this was affordable and a good cheeseburger inside the Venetian." I didn't know where it was.
Where have you been my whole life?
It was up there on like the second floor.
Yeah, I think the tech response guys have been there like 3 times already that week.
Over
or something like
that.
You
know where the ceiling's painted to look like it's outside? It was up by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, fuck, I got a new place to eat when I'm out here.
The canal shops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rick is cool. He like I said during the podcast, he was in my first fighting pistol class, and obviously that wasn't his first class there. But he wasn't the atypical I've been here 1,000 times guy. And it was very cool because like they did a lot of photo stuff for Victus and all that because that's what they were doing while they were there. But like it was kind of cool because they like did the normal drills and all the other things, but then when everyone else was doing other stuff, they did their photo stuff. But he was a really cool dude.
Yeah, I like Rick.
If any of you know Rick and are in the Southern California area, you should hound him over hosting some classes.
Yeah.
Because we put that bug in his ear while we were there.
I hear that a certain company may be going out to California again. I heard Tactical Response might be going back out to
Oh,
California.
sweet. That's awesome. I'm excited to see them traveling anywhere.
Yes, anywhere, including especially PA.
Yeah,
It'd be wonderful to see them in PA.
I'm working on it.
Good.
Rick is a ball of energy. He has good people, just good people. He told us some stories of stuff happening to people he knows at dinner, and very moving stuff. Like he was very, like he can touch your heartstrings. He's also like I don't know if you know this, but he's like the senior citizen 9-time world champion surfer. Legendary classification, not senior citizen. I keep confusing them. Sorry, Rick.
You're so mean.
So when you and Sam Russell get together in one place at one time, does it just suck all the meanness out of the rest of the world and focus it just on the two of you?
Who?
Sam Russell? Because I heard that you isn't that Don's guy?
Sam Houston?
Sorry,
Sam
Sam
Houston.
Houston. I'm sorry, Sam Houston.
I was
Not
like, wait,
Sam.
am I missing?
But I hear that you two are very kindred spirits in your
Sam's a
Journal
zinger,
ad.
man. He you don't think he's paying actively in the conversation that's happening? Like we were in that class and Don would be going on about something or other, and then like there would be almost this very kind of like unbeknownst setup of a joke, and Sam from back in the wings would come out with some fucking zinger, bam, like super funny, and totally had no idea he was even there.
Yeah.
Like he's like a fucking joke sniper from afar.
I guess there's probably some people out there that Sam rubs the wrong way. And I don't know Sam super well, but I bet you he enjoys it. In which case, he and I are a lot alike.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that is what Andrew has told me about him.
Gee, I wonder. That's kind of your MO.
Well, he's the South Florida version.
Maybe.
So as long as he stays,
We're both former squids too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's a Navy thing. He'd be the bottom,
Yeah.
in case anybody's wondering. Who else did we?
Wexler's leaving. Good to see you, sir.
Anybody else we run into out there that didn't get a good mention?
Dave Biggers.
Ran into Biggers twice.
I only got to see him the once, and I feel terrible. I went by the Ed Brown booth, like without you.
Yep.
And
when I went, it was without you.
Yeah. So I was just because I wanted to actually see him, and I went by twice, and I couldn't
Well,
find
he
him.
had the first half of the show. He was booth duty.
Yeah.
Second half was go do business.
Yeah,
duty.
go make deals.
Yeah. That one's for you.
Z-Bolt IR stuff.
Here's my.
So Z-Bolt IR stuff.
Good night, buddy.
I am wearing the A-Cow hat.
Uh-huh.
So I've
You're
got.
welcome. I got
Mike
you that
made
hat.
that happen. He's got one too. Yeah, it's all it's cracked up to be, Aiden. So far, so good. It's living up to what I expect.
Who is Risky?
Risky is Krisky.
It is Risky.
Seemed risky.
Is he frisky?
He wasn't very frisky there. He didn't go on like a schizo rant while we were chatting.
He was very subdued. And he did an interview with Willis, and he was very subdued in that too.
He he was walking by, and I turned and saw him, and I had to turn back because at first I was like, "Wait, do I know that guy?" Because I've seen him a million times with a fucking hockey mask on, and 10 times without. In comparison,
Oh, see, now that would be funny. Is to walk up to just random people like, "Can you put this on for a second?"
And I was like, as I was going, "Hey, is that?" He saw me and was like, "Hey," and came over and was like, "Hey, man, I always watch your channel." And I was like, "Yeah, you get what you pay for. There are no refunds." Javier wants to know does he have a YouTube channel? Well, he did.
Not anymore.
YouTube doesn't like what he has to say.
Yeah.
I always found him super entertaining. Like the message was good, but the delivery was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have him on this channel here at some point. Like we talked about the fact that we never got that sorted out, but now that he's the Carolinas, one of the Carolinas, I don't know which one.
If we could ever get him up here, I got to get him on the podcast.
Oh, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah,
with a couple hours to talk to him.
It's the best. You sit here and you just bullshit for 2 hours, and before you know it, you're like 3 hours in. You're like, all right, we should cut this off.
Yeah. So ran into him too. So that part was good. We ran into Biggers. Pete Pie popped in out of nowhere.
I was super jazzed to finally meet Pete in person.
Who was the most surprising person that you met? Like that you didn't expect to be that way? Oh, negative or positive?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't meet anyone new.
I didn't have any negative experiences the whole week, honestly. Like, people were great.
Yeah, like the only new people I met, didn't know of them beforehand, so
right.
There was no.
Oh, we met Trey quickly with Pete.
Trey
Sprinkle from Last American Outlaw.
Yep, he was with Pete in the beginning, and then the other 8 times I saw Pete, I did not see Trey. Yes, Colt, he is on IG, and he is on IG as Who is Risky Krisky. That is his IG handle.
So funny. We've been talking about SHOT Show so much over the last few days. I'm like, I don't even know what to talk about anymore.
Yeah.
It was just, it was a total blur. Like, so met a bunch of people, and Gary covered way more ground than I did, because I was trying to do some interviews and
dude, on day 2, I think I had 8,000 steps more than the rest of you guys.
Well, that day 2 was the same. We walked all the same distances. You just take more steps because your legs are so short. Or no, we all walked in the same places on range day, and I think your steps were at 1,100, and mine was at 1,450 or something like that. Oh no, sorry, reverse.
Yeah, reverse.
Yours was 1,450, and mine was 1,100. So it's there's an absolute difference in stride length. Oh, did you just broadcast that?
No, I saved that from our Signal chat.
It's
going to be my sign off.
Oh, for this
for the live chat.
Oh yeah.
But I needed to have it on a computer so I could drag it over.
So the only time I actually got downstairs into the pit, as they call it, was from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Friday.
Nice.
That's it. And that's 3/4 of the booths at the show. By number. The booths aren't as big as they are on the main floor.
Yeah, but they're all pretty much the same size. There's no big stellar.
And honestly, I wish I spent way more time down there just getting to peruse, because there's a lot more, you get a lot more per minute of hey, this is kind of breathing things in.
Well, not just that, but you have smaller companies that are willing to spend more time with you too.
Oh yeah, because upstairs, if I'm trying to get an interview or whatever, the Hollow Sun thing I told you about, where I got bumped by another well-known trainer to try and get into their interview room. They're dealing with multi-million-dollar personalities.
Yeah.
Whereas downstairs you're more likely to kind of get some personal time, some one-on-one time with somebody who who legitimately wants to tell you about something awesome that they do.
Right.
Actually, as a matter of fact, Slip 2000 was down there too. So I managed to catch them right at the end of the show, right before I had to leave for the airport, which was awesome, because those guys are
they
really
treated
good.
You pretty good.
They do. I tell everyone this, there's a lot of lubricants and cleaners out there. They all do what they want to do. But those guys, the guy Rich who runs Slip 2000, that guy's awesome. He's the nicest guy ever. So that's the guy who I want to go to. I don't care if there's other whiz banger that hey, ultrasonic cleaners, whatever. Those guys, they take care of us, and they support the training community. That's
the same non-toxic. You can eat this if you need to.
Yeah, Slip 2000 does all the I think they're really known for their non-toxic synthetic stuff.
Okay.
Like it's not as harsh as everything else.
I forget who it was. Someone just did a really ridiculous cold weather test on somebody. I forget. I think it was maybe Kentuckiana Gunworks or one of those.
I don't know. The first performing cold weather
Frog
lube
lube.
they say is frog lube.
Frog lube.
So I lubed up a fucking rifle with frog lube, and I took it outside my house and dumped it in the snow, covered it in snow, and went back like 3 hours later, picked the gun up, fired it, it worked, fired it again, it worked, finished off the magazine, it worked.
You mean
And then I took it back in the house and went, I don't know what else I needed to do.
So-
you mean it's more than one factor that usually leads to failures in a gun?
Maybe.
You know.
So way back when I was using frog lube, when it turned every gun I owned into non-working firearms, every single gun I owned into a non-working firearm. Somehow, I don't know how, but somehow I called them and got the CEO on the phone. Must have been a slow day because I'm fucking nobody. And he went over and he said to me, I told him what was happening, and I said, listen, like this is like a no-go for me. And he says to me, there's another lubricant present. I said, excuse me? He said, well, yeah, you have to completely strip your gun of any lubricant that you previously have used, including if it's a brand new gun, whatever lubricant the manufacturer used. If you don't do that, then it will turn to honey. So if you just so happen to mix the frog lube with anything else, doesn't matter what it is, when it gets cold, it turns to honey.
Well, I had found that after the first shot with the rifle, it wasn't cold anymore. And it wasn't strong enough in the first shot to hold the bolt in battery.
Yeah, for me, it was the firing pin. Like the firing pin would not, it was light strikes and everything. It's the shotgun, the pistol.
Well, there should be
and the
lube in
rifle.
there anyway.
Yeah.
So
Should be totally dry in the firing pin channel.
Yep.
Like everything was.
But of course, depending on what your process for lubrication is, there is the opportunity for it to get in there.
Yeah, like if you're one of those guys that squirts a lot of lube in through the ejection port into the little
Into the vent holes.
The vent holes
that are not lube holes. But, whatever. We got off on lube. Oh, yeah, we're bottom floor.
We're talking about the bottom floor.
2000.
The guys at Big Commerce found me
Oh yeah.
and that also gave me booze.
Oh
The
yeah.
guy's like, Gary. I look over and I was like, Jim. Or whatever his name
Because
was.
everyone calls you by name because they look at your badges.
And he's like, you want a beer? And I said, sure. And he goes, great. Let's get you a beer. And let me talk to you about Big Commerce. I said, no need. My website's already on Big Commerce. And he goes, well, enjoy the beer then. What else was down there that caught my attention was the Blue Ops guys with the magazine laser resetter thing for pistols and the dry fire mag laser ammo people with theirs.
ATF booth.
The ATF booth was great.
Which you visited a few times.
If you haven't seen my YouTube shorts, or I put them on TikTok today as well, you can go see my interactions at the ATF booth.
That's where they're going to find out about us from the TikTok, because I'm sure they're on TikTok.
I couldn't do TikTok from SHOT Show because I don't have it on my phone. I won't put it on my phone.
Have you ever heard about the terms of service?
They're terrible.
Oh my God. Like they have the right to access any device that is on your Wi-Fi, whether it is installed on that device or not.
And you've agreed to it.
Yes.
Yeah, you've agreed to it. Whether or
It
not
is
they can do it is a
crazy.
different story. But
It is crazy.
And I was like, so I don't have them on my phone. So I did it from my my tablet, because my tablet is only used for music. It's got Spotify and TikTok on it. That's it.
Right.
So that worked out all right. I got home, put them on the tablet, and then uploaded them to TikTok today. So did the ATF booth, shot by the hand grenade booth, aka Olight.
Olight.
Well, at least you're consistent.
Was Garmin downstairs?
I believe so, but I talked to them at range day, so I didn't go find them at the.
That little chronometer. That thing looks pretty cool.
What is
like? So
A chronograph?
chronograph? Oh, chronograph, not chronometer.
Yes. Because what's his face?
That's a chronometer.
Yeah.
Sons of Liberty was using that for their
Yep.
for
Yes.
the Six Max video.
So we saw it there, and it worked really well. And that's where we saw the velocities when we were shooting the 6mm max. But I stopped by one of the. I don't remember if it was upstairs or downstairs, but I saw the item, and it's it's really small. Like,
Yeah.
and it looks way better than any other like chronograph type thing that I've seen before, where it's like like the Caldwell one, where it's like a big thing with the optical sensors and the loops on the top. You got to shoot through the thing.
Well, Caldwell now has one of those too, apparently, though.
Well, yeah, I saw a video today of like they've moved into the Doppler, or I think they called it something else or whatever. But they started creating like the same thing that Garmin made, but the older, bigger version.
Yep.
So like everyone's moving towards these like Doppler radar type,
and it's affordable. It's like $400 or something like that. So
yeah, I mean, if you the Garmin one's like $500,
that's
which
not bad.
I mean, if you go, okay, how often are you fucking chronoing?
Never.
But if you have a group of friends that are into like the long hand loads or long range stuff, because anytime you do a long range, you gotta chrono your load, so that you know what your dope is at distances. Like it could be like between 2 or 3 friends that could get some use out of it. That's not bad.
Yeah,
no, it's not. What was it? I was actually surprised. I forget who did the video that I watched on the Spot X and all that, but I did not realize how affordable that shit is.
Yeah, I've had one for years.
Like, so the big one's only $250, which is way less than I thought it was. And like I was looking at their plans, like for $11.95 a month.
And I think
you're basically covered.
I'm gonna have to go over here and check while we're on a website.
Are you affiliated?
I think so.
Are you?
Yep.
Nice.
So if you go over to,
just drop the link.
I should do that. Yep. Copy.
Crystal probably has.
I don't know if she's still in here. She was in earlier.
So if you want a Spot device, if you follow this link, I guess I'm gonna hit paste.
This is why she's faster than you.
I will get some type of affiliate kickback. You don't pay anything more, but I just get a couple of dollars from what you pay Spot.
Nice. But yeah, I really thought, first of all, I thought the device was going to be more of a surprise how cheap the device was. And second, I did not realize the plans were that cheap. There's no way they were that cheap when the Jaeger had first covered them, because I would have jumped all over that shit.
They've all been pretty good.
But that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like that was
We've had ours for
at least 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, well, I did this was 5 years ago. I did the deep dive into, what do I want? The Garmin InReach, the Spot X. I think there was one other one at the time too. And it's like, all of them have the same capability. All of them have the same possible downsides. Like with all of them, none of us are ever totally sure about like exactly how dependent it is upon ground communications. So like it's satellite comms, right? So the question is, which I doubt if it's really the case, of whether or not you text somebody from your Spot device, if it goes straight up to a satellite down to another Spot device, or a satellite to another satellite to a Spot device, where it's ad hoc from some sort of centralized mainframe. So that means that if it needs to go up to a satellite, down to a ground facility to be processed through servers, back up to a satellite to another spot, whatever that ground station is susceptible to also being knocked out.
Like you can text non-Spot devices.
Right, I know that.
So if I text Mike's cell phone from my Spot, if he don't have no cell service, it doesn't help that I spotted him.
I got it.
So likely it's dependent upon whatever that ground station is. How redundant that ground station is in terms of like backup power and the ability to communicate with satellites, don't know. But I've always viewed it as a reliable stopgap between phones
and sat phones
and radios.
Got it.
Because the text communicators and the sat phones are the same thing. So they're going to use the same networks, the same vulnerabilities, but like something between a cell network, which is totally reliant upon like hundreds of thousands of interconnected nodes, and a radio which has no nodes. It's literally like, simplex just means between one radio and another. Something in between that which has reliable nodes that are up in space, but a simplified
Right.
system that less things can go wrong. I think it's a good alternative.
So you know about texting over radio, right?
I do, yes,
Okay.
but that all depends. That all relies on the radio, how
Yeah.
far you can reach with it.
And
So,
repeaters and such and
Yep.
such. One of the things when you take Evan's class, he goes over that as
yeah,
part
you
of
should
it.
all. If anybody's listening, by the way, March 23rd. I hope you don't mind me plugging this on your live chat.
Knock yourself out.
March 23rd, we're hosting. Bulletin is hosting Radio Made Easy up here in Allentown. So if you're interested, you better get in quick because the slots are filling up.
You should take that class. I took the class down at SRF. It was fantastic.
I won't be taking it, so take good notes.
I know you're going to be busy with other training that day,
Yep.
or else I would be upset. But hey, if you're going out training somewhere else that was already
Training
scheduled,
that was very difficult to get into.
Yeah.
Like it was super hard to. It would be easier for me to go to him and take Radio Made Easy at his place any other time
yeah, we'll make it happen again for sure.
than to try and reschedule the other training to take the radio class when he's here.
Well, more importantly, is to get him back up here for tactical radio operator.
Yes, I mean my plan is to
Because-
it's to build up a little
Yeah.
bit of a cadre or a group of students,
Yep.
and then keep Evan coming back to bring up some other trainers too as part of.
And in case you don't know about that class, one of the things about that class is like you get one of his $129 radio packages. That's what you use in the class.
Damn.
So you get the package that
Comes
we
with
normally
stuff.
buy. So there's value to it too.
Comes with a water susceptible radio.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I like how you put that.
I'm not a huge fan of Baofangs, but
Neither is
I
he.
love what
Yeah.
what Evan is
Yeah.
doing with them.
Which is why I've bought all those VXRs from him.
Adam, what training are you taking? I'm taking Pennsylvania's Act 235 training. It's like a week long. It's what you need to be a licensed armed security agent in the state. So if you work a job that requires you to have a gun, you have to have that certification to be legal here. And it is a fucking nightmare to get into it.
Mm-hmm. We've tried it before.
Yeah.
I
So-
failed.
There is.
I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to carry a gun and get paid for it because I sometimes mix up greens and oranges. Apparently, that's
That's a no go.
that's a
That's
a
a
critical
no-go.
skill.
Hard fail. Right there.
Hard fail.
So-
Like immoral character. Like same thing as not being able to distinguish colors.
So there's a property that we delivered to that's not far from my work, and the guy that owns the property at one point in time owns some health insurance company, and like it's basically like 50 acres in the middle of Bluebell, like not at all valuable real estate. And the first time we were delivered there, I was kind of walking around, and I'm like, well, that guy's got a gun, and that guy's got a gun, and that guy's got a gun, and they had no less than a dozen guys armed on property. And apparently enough surveillance cameras that if you think about turning into their driveway, they already know who you are. They've already run your plate and such.
I want to be friends with them.
Interesting.
Yeah. This guy's got the kind of sway that he called up they have a pool house, and he called up the guy that owns Sony and says to him, I want an 80-inch TV. This is what I want, and I want to deliver it here. And the CEO for Sony said, whatever you want. Like that kind of money.
Jason says,
He wants to know what shot or range days like.
can we talk about range day? Yes. What was it like?
Well,
I doubt
Were there
I'm
guns
going
there?
next year.
Were there guns there?
you doubt you're going next year?
Yeah.
I'll go. It's simply, I mean, it can't be shitty weather 3 times in a row, can it?
Good.
So, just to give you an overview of what range day is, imagine the largest outdoor range that you could possibly imagine, and then double it.
It's big.
It's fucking ginormous. I'd say at least 15 to 20 50-yard bays.
Oh, I think they numbered out into the 40s.
Okay, so there's a lot of them, and then some really long range ones, and then some really big shared ones.
and then some shotgun
and
ones.
some shotgun ranges, and then I think there's even ranges that they had that weren't part of or the range day. So there is just ranges as far as the eye can see, and then vendors and tents and other things. Like it's kind of like an outdoor convention, but like it's everything that you would think it is, honestly, except for the fact that like it's kind of lackluster. Like that's the day. What a lot of people do is they go to range day, they go tool around to see if there's anything that's like really highlighted, and then it seems like pretty much everyone bounces as early as they can because it's kind of it's a pain in the ass to get out there. It's a long bus ride. It's super fucking windy. Like it's windier there than everywhere else for some reason.
Well, here's a question: like you would think that this being the opportunity for all these people to actually shoot the things instead of just look at the things, you would think that they would make it more attractive to.
But here, like, think of it this way too: all the people that go to this are part of the industry. Like, we're not consumers. Like, everyone doesn't care about shooting.
Like, why have it?
Because
the proof of concept.
Proof of concept to make sure that it works.
Right.
It's almost like put your money where your mouth is type of thing. Like, hey, if you don't show up at range day to show that this thing is working, it's kind of like, well, have you like where's the proof? Some things like the 6mm max, you can't experience it any other way.
Yeah, right. or all the cans.
Or all the cans. Although I would say that's a terrible environment to test cans.
It's so noisy.
It's so loud. It's like machine gun fire all day long. So like you can't really test them other than to see how soft or like how well it cycles. Like if you're seeing if you're getting a lot of gas in the face type of thing. So you did like what we've done both years is we've started at one end, did a walk down, see if there's anything super interesting. Most interesting thing we saw this year was the snake staff tourniquets had.
That was hilarious. His reaction when you said to him that you carry every day, he's like, really? Like, he was so excited.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
Like they had a little booth outside of whoever they're partnering with. I forget who it is.
Yeah.
Of a challenge,
and
there was 2 things you could win. If you got under 20 seconds, you got a challenge coin, and both Gary and I got the challenge coins. And then if it was under 25 seconds or...
No, if it was under 25, you got the challenge coin. If it was under 20, you got the challenge coin and a free tourniquet.
Right.
And we were both 20 point something.
Right. Well, mine was technically like 16.5. But... So it's my only gripe about the snake staff tourniquet, and I still carry it every day, even though this is a gripe.
The fucking gateway.
The gateway works really well one way and not so well in the other way. And I got it on there in about 16 seconds. It was on there tight, and I was trying to rush it, so I wasn't being super careful with it. And I pushed it down in and went, okay, done. And I let go and went, all right. So I got right back on it, tightened it back up, whatever, and that put me over to like 24 seconds or whatever. So I was like, I didn't make sure it was tight. I didn't make sure it got in the gate. So that's my fault. I didn't get it on there, but it was on there tight by like 18 seconds.
So apparently Chuck's partnering with them.
Oh, is he? That's awesome.
Or he's going to become a distributor or whatever. And they were asking him for feedback, and his first feedback immediately was the gateway sucks.
Well,
not sucks, but it
sucks one way.
It's an impediment.
The other way is pretty
it's
good.
Way better than the soft T wads.
Well, yes,
retention.
Yeah. Or is that the one with the triangle?
Yeah.
I fucking hate that one.
Yeah,
yes.
A bunch of doesn't fucking work for fun.
But yeah, so he was talking about it a little bit on. Well, he was talking about it on the live attack response live.
Oh, nice.
That you were on.
So range day is cool. There's some food trucks and there's a lot of stuff. There's more than you could possibly like. Even there's more than you can really shoot.
If we stayed all day to like 4, we probably could have got a little more in depth in some of the booths. But traditionally, it's like 8 in the morning till noon is for media only, and then from noon to 4 is media and buyers. And but this year they let the buyers in at 8 because it was supposed to start raining heavily at noon. So
yeah, and we punched out at noon.
Yeah,
like we had seen everything. Maybe went back and took a look at a couple other things, and then we're like, hey, we ate our free meal ticket, and then we got out of there.
I was actually kind of surprised that where they decided to do that challenge at. I would assume that would have been on the showroom floor. Not range just seemed like an odd choice, other than maybe because it's the only, or it's different from what normally is going on there. That to
It has a lot less
attention.
people.
They might have been doing it on the SHOT Show floor. I never saw them on the floor.
Yeah, I never saw them there.
They might have been down in the.
And I didn't know they were going to be at range day until we saw them.
But I remember seeing a video. I was like, that seems like an odd thing to see on range day.
Actually, the CEO. So I was in the dead air booth talking to Todd McGee, just bullshitting about shared experiences on the dead air side, and that guy who was running that booth walked up. He was like, "Dude, you're carrying my tourniquet." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I told you the other day." He's like, "What? Oh, thank you so much for the support." And I'm like, "Cool." And he was just he's super excited to see people carrying his tourniquet.
You should show him your short.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, like some of the interactions you have at SHOT Show are literally like seconds long, where it's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?"
Yep.
That's what happened to me and Sam Houston. I was at the Holosun booth, and I was waiting on that interview, and I saw him walk by. I'm like, "Sam, hey man, how's it going?" And by the time he even reacted to me, the guy came over and was like, "Hey, let me get your information for the thing," and he was gone. So it's like sometimes you just have like ships in the night.
Yep.
All right, so we've been here an hour and 20 minutes, well over the normal time.
Yeah.
We did talk about SHOT Show shit. I think I answered everybody's question that popped up. Oh, we did forget that. We're on tourniquet. So we got a closing argument and then a final sign-off teaser. So the closing argument. Good thing you fucking brought that up.
I know. Well, I had to remember the name, the correct name.
So there is a company located somewhere here in our wonderful state. Wish we got this earlier when there's a few more people on. Called Penn Tactical Solutions. I'm going to go ahead and just call them out as fucking thieves. That's how I
did in my review.
Did they take money?
They took money.
Did they produce a product?
No.
Then they're fucking thieves.
And they went radio silent on trying to rectify it.
Like and burned. I think burned multiple bridges in the process.
Well, they got a recommendation from somebody in the industry that I think very highly of, and it has tarnished his reputation because they burned his name.
Yeah, that's why I won't say his name because he doesn't deserve that by any means.
Nope, he doesn't.
But they
don't care about that either.
Nope. So a little backstory. I rolled up on a couple of car accidents this summer. I posted about them and like just some after action reports. And on one of them, there was a minor head laceration, and I didn't have any like minor gauze, so I pulled out one of my Olays bandages, which is one of the compression or like pressure bandages, and used that because. At that point, who cares? Like, hey, I don't need these for something else. This guy can use a bandage. I'll give him whatever I got.
Yep, I'll just replace it.
So they're the ones I went to replace, like, because they had a vouch in our community. I'm like, okay, and made an order in August, and so I kind of just let it lie. Didn't really think about it. Kind of forgot about it for a little bit. October, I reached back out to them like, hey guys, I never got this order. Is there something going on? Oh, we'll look into it. Okay. Kept going, and I wasn't being rough with them because they were recommended.
Yeah.
A month later, hey guys, what's going on with this? Like, what like this is through email. Like, where's the order? Oh, and there was like, this was like the last piece of communication I got, something along the lines of like, we didn't get confirmation. We're going to ask about it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then I would reach out to them to try and get a response, and then reach out to the trusted contact, the intermediary, to be like, hey man, have you heard from them? Like, is everything okay? Are they dead? Like, turns out they're having some troubles or whatever. And, long story short, they came back and said, hey, we've rectified it. We sent a package. We made it right. that didn't happen. So they were straight up lying to whoever this other person is.
Yeah.
They stopped responding to all communications to me whatsoever, even though I was very understanding and just said, "Hey, I just want timing. Like, I want to know what's going on." And so, I think 6 months or whatever it's been since August. I guess 4 months. I think that's long enough to say. I think they have made plans and used the funds that I have already given them on things other than what they were supposed to send me.
Yeah.
What I think is funny is like there has never been a time where there are not more options in this. Like there are so many different companies that you can get your shit from at this point. When at one time and another, it was hard to get stuff. So it is not a wise time to be dicking people over when there's so many other options to get medical stuff.
And don't get me wrong, I think there are. So apparently there is a big shortage in medical stuff as well as other fighting type supplies because of Ukraine and Israel, whatever. So companies that are making those types of things are also supplying really big buyers out there.
Then there's a sticker that you can put on your product. It's out of stock.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, it's not so much the fact that I got burned that I'm really upset. Like, guys, you sell medical equipment. People need that shit. Like, that is. I mean, if somebody was like, "Oh, well, we didn't send him a gun or whatever," it's like I could deal with that because there are others out there. Like, it's not to me. Medical is far more important. Right. So most companies I don't put out there to go like, "Hey, they fucked me over." Mm-hmm. But for this, like, people should know don't order from Penn Tactical Solutions because they will steal your money.
So in opposite fashion, so I did a video a little while ago. A buddy of mine who has a trucking company rolled up on something and was like, "Hey," like he didn't have anything. So he had seen a bunch of my videos and said, "Hey, do you think you could put together a kit for me?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. What's your budget?" And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I could spend $1,000 or I could spend $100. Like, what's your budget?" So I figured out a budget. And I had bought a lot of stuff from a website with Live Action Safety. They have fantastic pricing on stuff.
I have ordered stuff from them.
Great. I mean, and they've always been responsive, great people. That or the Tactical Medic or Chuck at Homestead Medical, any of those three, or who I would use if I had a default. So anyway, they had these the My Medic stuff. They had these kits and they were blowing them out. And I was like, well, that's got everything I need for this, short of some stuff. So I'll buy these pre-made kits, save a little bit of money. But anyway. So bought them and got an email saying, "Hey, we're sorry, these were more popular than we thought they were going to be. We are sold out on them." They said, "But we'll make it right if you just pick the items that were in it in the drop down. Send me an email. We'll give you the same price." So I still, because it was not substantially cheaper, but like 25% cheaper than if I were just to buy the items individually.
Considerable.
You know, and they were like, "Hey, it's not what's half price, but what I'm saying is like they made it right. They realized what was going on, and then proactively sent me an email.
Yeah, saying, the way you're supposed to handle that kind of
thing. Like a reputable company,
not skulk away and hide in a cave somewhere.
Oh yeah. Yes. So I don't know.
I keep going, like taking my mouse to try to go to your screen to look at that page.
Why is that not working?
Because do they have an About Us? Because they do instruction too.
Yeah,
right?
Fuck them.
I know, which is actually one of the reasons why I was hesitant to even warn people against them, because I don't like talking ill about them.
Well, I wonder if they had like instructor bios. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, fuck
they're apparently hiring.
Yeah.
I had to hire a customer service rep.
Yeah. Or a comptroller.
All right. So Penn Tactical Solutions.
Fuck those guys.
Thumbs down. All right. So now we're an hour and a half into this. And I think we're going to give one teaser away for the 15 of you that hung around for this whole thing. Or if you're watching later, let me come over here to the design tab. And we're going to play this one little teaser, and then we'll punch out of here. I'm going to go right to end stream when it's over. So
you're not going to explain it or
nope,
the details?
No,
none are needed. I don't.
That's why it's a teaser.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you when this is over. You all have a wonderful evening. I'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Take it easy.